up, YouTube? Welcome back to ALBON Gardens. On this episode, we're going to talk about this Fuyu Persimmon tree that I picked up in December from Home Depot. And before we get into this, let's clean up the backyard real quick. Alright, now that we've cleaned up a little bit, let's get to work. So, I've got my persimmon right here, it's dormant. I received it just like this, and I don't see any signs of growth yet, so it's still dormant. And I've been putting this off so I can get it filmed. So I guess this is the perfect time. This is the pot I've chosen. This was my dragon fruit, but it didn't survive the winter. So I'm going to pull everything out, and then we're going to get the soil ready. We're going to add all our good stuff in there. We're going to pull this persimmon out, and then we're going to plant it. And I'll have it all on video. Alright, so first things first, we're going to get this pot ready. So we're going to pull all the old stuff out. And if you do this at home, make sure you got some good gloves. These have this protection. It's like a plastic, I don't know what it is, but it's good enough for these dragon fruit, but whatever thorns they have. I've had this dragon fruit for a long time and it never flowered or fruited, so I guess it's time for it to become some mulch and compost. We're going to dump some of the soil in here. And whoa, you can see all these ants right in here. So we're going to get rid of this. We don't want these ants in our pot. Let's just dump this over here. Clean out those ants. Hopefully there's no eggs in here. So the soil I have in here, pretty sure it's that avocado palm mix that drains really well because I had a cactus in here. And the soil I want to use is this Miracle Grow potting mix moisture control. And it protects against over and underwatering, which is perfect for your plants. And I've been using this for the past year. Works great, so I'm going to continue to use it. So I'm going to dump this soil out over here and put this to the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to start filling up our soil up here. From I've experienced, I have another persimmon that I bought from Craigslist. It was a father and daughter. They grew a bunch of seeds and they were selling it for $10. So I was like, hey, I'll pick some up. So I had to dig it out of their ground, and what I noticed is they have really long tap roots. So this is the reason why I have a really long pot that I wanted to use. Hopefully it works out pretty good. Then we're gonna see how far we need to go. So as you can see here, here's the graft part. So this is where the graft happened. And what you want to do is make sure when you replant this or repot this, you want to keep the soil level to the same as it is here. If you go above here, you're going to end up killing the plant. So always be wary of that. And then when we put it in here, we can see that it's probably the right size. So you want a couple inches here. You can put some mulch, and then when you water it, it won't overflow. So I think this is perfect. And then also, as you water it, the soil level will go down another ½ inch or so. So what we're gonna start doing here is we're gonna start adding minerals. So once we put the plant in there, the roots are already touching all the minerals and good stuff. And what we really need is some worm castings, so let's go get some. here. It was $10 for 5 pounds. They also had a 40-pound bag for $40, but that's a lot of worm castings and a lot of money, so I'll just use this for now. So let's get back to work. Alright, let's pop open our bag here. We're going to start adding all the goodies to our soil so that as soon as this plant comes out of dormancy, it's ready to go. This thing is giving me a little bit of trouble. There we go. So what we'll do is just take, you don't want to use, I mean, the more you use the better. If you can use only worm castings, go for it, but it is pretty expensive, so I'm not going to do that. But just add a little bit there. You get some azomite, rock dust minerals, and just add a heaping in there, mix it up a little bit. And then also we have our mycorrhiza. Add about a tablespoon in there. What this does is it'll create a web inside the soil, and it'll help bring nutrients to the roots. So even if you don't have big roots that go throughout the whole pot, what this will do is it'll go throughout the whole pot and it'll bring the nutrients back to your plant. So we're just going to spread this around a little bit. And that's pretty much all we need for now. And what we're going to do, we're going to get our Fuyu Persimmon here. And the reason I like this one is you can eat it hard or you can wait till it softens. It's a non-astringent variety, meaning if you get the astringent variety, you have to wait till it's really, really soft, otherwise you get this weird taste that I don't really know how to explain. But this one's great because you can eat it whenever, whether it's hard or soft. You just take a bite out of it like an apple, or you can slice it up, whatever. Alright, so we're gonna squeeze this around a little bit, grab these two, and pop it right out. And we'll check out the roots here. Alright, let's check out the roots. As you can see, they look kind of root bound here. Here's all the roots growing all around. And then once you put it in this pot, it's going to have a lot of room to grow. Stick it right in here. Then what we can do is just pull this out. And what you want is, you want to get it perfectly aligned. I'll take this off for now. If we need it later, we'll put it back in. And what I want to do is I want to kind of add a little bit of soil here and probably bring it up just a little bit. Add some soil right under there. Let's start filling it in. And check out these roots right here. Nice and thick and strong. So we're going to make sure we add our nutrients on top here so these roots can pull in all the nutrients. And you kind of want to lightly compress this in. You don't want to do it too hard, mess up the roots. And we have some room here. Alright, that should be good. Once we water it in, it'll even out. Alright, now that we have the soil added back in, what we're going to do is we're going to add some more worm castings. Just grab a little bit, kind of pour it around the top, get those top roots. And remember, we're going to make sure that our soil level doesn't go above where it was already planted. It's okay to add mulch because the mulch allows air to go through and there won't be any rotting. So you want to keep it at this level. We added our worm casting. And then we're going to throw some more azomite in there. And then throw some more of these guys in there. And let's mix it up lightly here. You don't want to disturb the roots too much. And then what you can also do is you can throw some compost in here, but I don't have any right now. Maybe I'll have to get some. And we're going to get some good old mulch right here. A couple things about mulch. It helps retain moisture, so when it gets really hot in the Dallas weather, it's going to help keep some moisture in there so it doesn't dry out too much. Also, it'll protect these roots here. These are feeder roots, so you want to keep these at the top. You want air, water, everything. Over here you want to completely put these under the soil. So what we'll do is we'll put mulch on these, and then also as the mulch breaks down, it becomes food for the tree, and also it'll help the microbial life in the soil, help those bugs, the beneficial bugs, thrive in here. And I'm just gonna add maybe an inch and a half. I think that should be good for now. Alright, so I picked this up from Amazon. It was like, I think $6 or $7. And especially when you have a lot of potted plants, you want this. You want to make sure the moisture level is correct. It's not too dry, not too wet. That can determine life or death of these plants if you're overwatering or underwatering. I haven't watered this yet. We're going to stick this in here just to check it out before and after we water. So let's see what we get. So as we can see, it is dry right now. And we're going to pull this back out. Clean it up a little bit. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to water this. We're going to give it some fish emulsion, fish fertilizer. It'll help give this plant a kickstart along with the worm castings, the mycorrhiza, the azomite, some of that miracle grow soil, and then we have our good old mulch on top. So let's get this mixed up. Alright, so we got our good old Alaskan fish fertilizer. You can see there's 5 parts nitrogen and 1 part phosphorus and potassium. It's good for flowers, it's good for veggies, good for fruit trees. It's organic, it's not going to burn your roots or your leaves. So let's go ahead and mix this up. And then if you want this, you can get in this size, and they have a bigger size too. This one is 2 pound, and I think the other one is like 5 pound or 10 pound or something. Generally like around $10. You can get it at Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. So I'm just gonna get some. I don't really measure it because it's not gonna hurt the plants if I add extra or not. So I'm just gonna pour some in here. And then you gotta make sure you're wearing gloves, because if you get the stuff on your hands, it's gonna stink. Alright, let's fill this guy up. Alright, now that we got our fish mix right here, it's got all the goodies and stinkies. Just gonna go ahead and slowly add this in. Now you gotta remember, when you have dry soil and you put water in here, first thing it's going to do is go to the sides and just drip out. So what you want to do with dry soil is add a little bit of water, let it soak in, so that when you water it, it'll go through evenly. And that is a really good trick in hot places. So what we're going to do, we're going to add a little bit here. We're going to let it soak in. We're going to add a little more. This guy soak in, drip down. Should fill this guy up, and then after maybe 10-15, you can see it's starting to drip out the bottom now. The bottom will fill up, and then I'll just dump that back in here also, so the soil completely absorbs all the fish juices. Alright, so I let this drain out, and then I poured it back in here, and then what I'm going to do is pour some of it back, and then let that drain out also, so all of the soil here completely absorbs it. While I had this plant since December, it is now March 4th. I watered it maybe once or twice because it was dormant. I didn't want the soil to stay wet. So now that it's springtime, I want this thing to come back to life. I want to start growing. Looks like it has little buds here. You can kind of see, zoom in. I know a lot of people recommend when you get a plant that you cut it down and then kind of let it grow back, but it is pretty small, so I'll just let it grow If it grows out everywhere and I want to keep it at a small size, and I'll just tip it from here somewhere. But for now, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna add some more of this fish fertilizer. Let the soil soak it up even more, and then let it drain out the bottom. And you can tell the soil is really good because you can see it draining out from the bottom really well. You don't want this tree to have wet feet and then start rotting out. Alright, that is pretty much how you repot a persimmon. Just to recap, we have our azomite worm castings. We have our mycorrhiza. We have our potting mix. And what we are going to do now, we'll stick this guy in here. And remember, before it was at 2 or less because it was dry. Now that, stick this guy in here. And it is wet. It is at a 9. So what we're gonna do is just let it drain out. Whatever the plant needs, it'll absorb. The soil won't stay too wet. And you can see, you want to clean this thing out every time. And I'm not gonna water this probably for another week or so, because I want to make sure that it starts growing leaves before I'm frequently watering it. And that is pretty much it. You can see all the water drained out again. And we're gonna put this aside. We're gonna grab this stuff. I'm gonna give it to my good old grape tree, which I got from Home Depot last year for free. And the reason I got this for free is because I bought this along with my brown turkey steak, and the lady at the counter, she was like, hey, that grape plant looks dead. So I was like, well, it's kind of budding from the bottom. She's like, nah, it's dead. You can have it for free. So I was like, sweet. So I brought it home. I stuck it in this pot. I added some good soil. I gave it lots of water. And then it started growing. So it was just pretty much this. And then last year, after I put it in some good soil and everything, got all this growth up to here. And I need to take these apart and tie it up again, which I will do. And maybe once I start getting some grapes on this thing, we'll make a video on that. But from ALBON Gardens, that is how you plant or repot a persimmon. Whenever this thing starts growing leaves, we'll bring the cameraman back here. We'll make some videos and we'll show you what's going on. Alright, see you guys later.